rock your next presentation? Have you ever been an audience member when the speaker was, let's say, less than enthusiastic, less than interesting, maybe even boring? That's not what you want your audience members to do. To rock your presentation, to give them something that they can take away, that they'll be enthused about. Don't let your guys go back to the office thinking, man, he could have sent me that in an email. What a waste of time. Instead, make sure they go back with something of value. Skills that you'll need to exhibit include eye contact. Make sure you hold eye contact for one complete thought. Then move on to your next audience member or next section of the audience and make eye contact with them. Another thing you'll want to remember is gestures, body language, all these things that draw in an audience member and help them to make that connection. Make sure your gestures are appropriate, but make sure they're natural. Don't let them look rehearsed. If they look rehearsed, they'll feel stiff. Your audience members will see that. You can rehearse them, sure. Just make sure when you're on the stage, they seem fairly natural. Another thing to remember is vocal variety. How often have you sat through a speech that was really boring and you just wished you could go out of there before you fell asleep because there was no vocal variety, only monotone? Don't do that to your audience. When you rock your presentation, you'll give speeches that they'll remember because you infused them with vocal variety that was really rocking. Use the tone of your voice, the pitch, the rate of speed that you speak. Use pauses that draw your audience in. Sometimes as speakers, we want to fill up every little area of silence with something. That's where we come in with our ums and ahs and filler words and speaking too quickly and making sure there's no silence. Let me tell you, it's the silences, the pauses, that sometimes make people's ears perk up and lean in to listen for that next point. Use pauses effectively. Another thing, when we're nervous, sometimes we speak too quickly. We just want to get over and done. Make sure you're not speaking too quickly. Make sure you're not speaking too slowly. You may want to speak quickly when you're excited about something. You may want to speak more slowly when you're trying to make that point, to drive it home. Think about your volume. You could make it louder when you're excited or when you really want to make that point, or you could make it softer to make the point. Think about what fits best with what you're saying. Even a whisper can make a difference as long as your audio equipment picks it up. There's nothing more frustrating than to be sitting in an audience and not be able to hear every word the speaker says clearly. Make sure your audio equipment picks up everything you say, or don't use the whisper. Something else to remember is the stage. If you have a stage, use it. Forget that podium as much as you can. Forget that lectern. Forget the notes. Use the stage. It's so much better for an audience to see the speaker without anything between them. If you have to use notes, if you need that lectern or that podium, don't stand behind it the whole time. Move away if you have room. Make sure you tell a story and make a point on one side of the stage. Then walk to the other side, tell another story, make another point. This is called blocking. When you come back to the center stage and you gesture back to that story that you've made, you'll watch your audience members as they turn their heads and see that picture that you painted for them. That's when you'll know you've made that connection. One tip I want you to remember is they're seeing you backwards. When you're thinking chronologically, you're thinking from left to right. Your audience members are seeing this is the left and this is the right. So remember that when you tell your stories. If you talk about the past and then talk about the future, always remember to gesture from right to left. And don't forget, always wear a smile. Great connector for the audience. If you do all this, you can rock your next presentation. In order to do that, you need to find a way to transfer the knowledge you have in your head into your audience members' heads, and to do it in a fun and interesting way, and a way that communicates and connects with them so that they don't soon forget what you've told them and don't soon forget your presentation. To rock your presentation, R, remember to give value. O, organize your presentation. C, conclude with a punch. Give them a good takeaway. And K, keep it real. Be natural. Be real. Communicate effectively. Make that connection with your audience. They won't soon forget your presentation.
Jean Bailey Robor is a motivational, inspirational speaker. To book her for your next event, email Jean at jeanbaileyrobor.com or call 336-269-8035. And be sure to check out her website, www.jeanbaileyrobor.com.